believe them.
Allez-vous.
I didn't know that it was,
We're back in session at 11:02 a.m. So next up on the agenda is Lori Thompson on the election.
Yeah, so we have a couple opportunities with the board directions regarding registering people to vote. One of the things that they are offering to pay for is to set up a pop-up polling place. So this, due to the importance of the election this year and the fact that a lot of our precincts have gone towards mail-in ballot, we have an opportunity to possibly have, based on your guys' approval, we could set up polling places on the res, you know, maybe looking at Rice Lake Community Center, Whiter, and the Nadawash location, whether you want to do it at the fire hall or the sports complex, wherever. And in 2014, Four Directions paid for a polling place. It was ran by county workers. I think this year what we would recommend is to have, the counties would supply the machines, but that we could have tribal workers run the machines. They would just get trained and that they could, and we could do it a week before the election. In 2014, Joe and OJ Siemens with Four Directions met with the Becker County Board. They had a little bit of kickback, but I talked to Lenny about it, and Lenny is willing to help out if we need to push it a little bit more. But Four Directions is willing to pay for it if we're interested in doing that. And of course, we could run it through the emergency management team to make sure that it's following the COVID compliance. So is that something that the council would be interested in doing?
I would.
Yeah, I know we talked about this before, didn't we, Ellen, about this guy from South Dakota?
Yep, that's who it's, yep.
Yeah, and I thought we approved that already, didn't we?
And then we do
To go forward with that.
Yeah.
Some Lori and I have some more.
Yeah, OJ hasn't mentioned, yeah.
I think it was approved for the support letter is when he come in. The approval was for the support letter.
And I think what we
So
will,
this is an additional approval.
Well, I'll make a motion and that we accept it.
Okay, motion by Kathy to accept the Four Directions assistance for elections 2000
Yep, for the pop-up polling place.
pop-up polling places. Motion by Kathy, second.
I'll second.
The second thing that they're
Hold
willing.
on, second by
Sorry.
Cheryl, all in favor?
Aye.
I recuse. Recuse, okay. Motion carries. Aye.
The second thing that they're wanting to pay for is to have a coordinator position as well as 5 staff positions. What they're wanting the coordinator to do is work and organize the 5 workers that would be working on registering people to vote. And also, along with registering to vote, they'd be working on the census as well, ensuring that people are filling out their census and that's being counted. The coordinator position would get paid $1,000 a week, and the worker positions would get $20 an hour. And the coordinator position would start right away, and that position would go up until the end of the election, and the worker positions would go probably up until the election. And
where's this money coming out for the coordinators?
Four Directions would pay for it, and so, yep, they're paying for this as well. And they would pay people out in cash every day at the end of the day. At least the workers. I'm not sure about the coordinators, but they would get, so that would be what the coordinator would do, if they'd be organizing that.
Time off to go do that. Not the.
Yeah, so does anybody, we'd like to find a coordinator, and then the coordinator could either work with the community councils, work with NACOA, with people that are currently laid off, or we could look at the list of people that we had that prior had worked get out to vote effort. And I don't know if anybody has an opinion on the coordinator, if they know.
Well, I would have Lori reach out to Lori, and she'll reach out to Nicole and HR and find out who has that experience, who did our coordinating before. And maybe even post it real quick for like 3 or 4 days, 1 week, and then, or not even a week, just say 3 days to sign up for this or something, I don't know. Give everyone a chance that wants to put in for it, see how much education experience they have, so that's important. And then from there, the ones that don't make the coordinator can all fit in the slots.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, so reach out to Lori.
You want a motion on that, Chris?
No, I already approved it.
Yeah, this was approved before.
Well, I think
This one, that one was to do the pop-up polling places
this is
and
to
this
accept
is,
their financial,
Oh,
Four
okay.
Directions financials.
Yeah, it should be on.
Okay, motion to accept the Four Directions financial commitment for pop-up polling places.
No, for get out the vote.
Get out and vote, okay. Get out and vote, I'm sorry.
for the coordinator and
Yeah.
5 worker positions that they would pay for it to work, get out the vote efforts and census.
Second.
Motion by, who is it by? Kathy, second by Ray, all in favor?
Aye.
Recuse, okay. Motion carries.
Wonderful, thank you, that's
Thank you,
all.
Lori.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Is Lisa on the phone, you know?
She was gonna come in.
Okay.
We have to give her a call. We should have anyone on the phone, the community councils.
Is Dennis?
Do you have a basic cell phone number?
So we go to who's on community councils on our next or what? Or what we going with the?
Tara, are you on? We could call Tito. She wanted to update.
Alright.
Ellen, do you have her number?
Oh, yeah. I'm a caller.
I think she wanted to give a brief one.
Hello.
One more number here.
I think we got one more number. No, I don't.
We'll see if
I know
Jeep's
there's a
on.
lot
We
of-
can see if Jeep's on too.
A lot of news coming out of the feds and state, I think mostly the feds on the vaccine, so. I know we'll be updating our membership with this vaccine that's coming down, so. So I know that'll be, we'll post that and we'll have our EOC and Pat Butler's division post some of that stuff on the vaccinations that are coming through, so. And those will be some recommendations we get from them on how we're going to, do that, so.
Trump's Clorox vaccination.
Hey, hi.
There she is.
Hi.
Lisa's here, so.
Hello. Okay. Can I take this off? I'll sit back for a bit. I can't breathe when I have that on. I'll sit back for a bit. Okay. So I guess, I kind of mentioned it to Kathy and Alan one day when we had a meeting, I think Mike might have been in there. I did attend a council meeting with the city of Monoman, and they're not interested, they took a vote and they're not interested in selling us any of the property that's in the industrial park. So we stayed for the whole meeting and we looked at a couple spots. There was one spot they mentioned that is further north, one road more down from the college road. And we went and looked at that spot. Is it 4 acres?
Yeah, it's about 4 acres. The pink is gonna be the city property that they were proposing that they would be willing to sell. The blue is the one that we'll probably have a better interest in.
So the one spot there's no road to it. We went and looked. It goes like a little trail right behind the first house. There's no water, there's no sewer to that spot.
The water and sewer probably ends just before you get to the peacock, so there'd be some infrastructure having to go into there back then.
Oh, you need another one? You need another one. Or Kathy? You have one?
No.
Here,
No.
because we need to share.
Okay. So that was one option that night at the meeting, that they said that they would be willing to sell us. They have not given us a price yet. But there would be quite an expense to bring that up with a road and water and sewer to that spot. So that was one concern, and the short amount of time that we have.
And not only that, but that corner back there also has a potential for a possible wet area. If you notice, that little wetland spot is on the inventory. And then that farmland over there kind of has a drainage that goes down there, so it's potential that there could be some moist soils back there. So that's something to think about. We won't know until the soil be tested.
They also, that night at the meeting, they mentioned that there's a spot behind the funeral home, the new funeral home where that's at. We had looked at it, and there looked like a big open field is what we thought it was. Catherine put it on, went and looked at the actual site, so here's a picture of it here now. It does have a bunch of trees on it. It isn't just the open area that is for sale.
This one is only 0.7 acres. So it's not even a full acre the way it looks, so that one's really small.
And also there is some wetland area, and we figured along the one edge of it, right? Or is that not included?
It looks like there's wet vegetation, but the wetland inventory kind of goes here, but you know, you'd have to have someone come out and delineate, but we don't have that available.
And then there was one option, the last option that we had at the night of the meeting. Dave Weimer, who has a home there, he wants to move to Oregon or something. He talked to both Don Shirk and I about his property. He's had it for sale. He wants to sell it. He wants to move. He's asking for $215,000. He did talk to Catherine to go down to $207,000. I got some pictures here, and Catherine also has the Google Maps or whatever.
I got one. This is visual.
Oh,
What, you want to do this?
No, we got it.
Oh, these are the same thing, right?
And we kind of looked at this before, but you know, we just
No,
never
that one's
moved
for,
on the property, but it's still available.
yeah.
That's 5.3 there. And I talked with Dave a couple weeks ago, and he said that there is natural gas into the property already. There is water, city water and city sewer. And then he also told me that he had already run a water line all the way from the north to the stacked side of the property to the south, because he was gonna do a project. And then he never went forward with it. So it sounds like there's water lines already serviced under there. You know, whether we can use them or not, that'd be during the construction talk, but there is stuff already serviced in the property. So it's already got a lot of stuff for fixing the site and preparations, where the other two from the city, we're already gonna look at having to fix roads in there, get other stuff accessed in there. So those are gonna be some costs to have to consider, and those probably aren't cheap right now.
Right, and this property actually comes with a house that was built in 2012. And so if you don't mind, read you the description of the property, his advertisement. It said, built in 2012, this remarkable property has been custom built in the highest quality and situated on a 5-acre estate. Stunning entry into the spacious great room with gorgeous vaulted ceilings. The ranch design property has been built handicap accessible with 4-foot hallways and oversized solid wood doors. Gourmet kitchen with custom-made solid wood hickory cabinets and 8-foot island. The custom cabinetry is also carried throughout the bathrooms, office, and laundry. The master bedroom suite is an oasis, I don't know about that, with the bamboo hardwood floors contained in the huge walk-in closet. 2 spacious secondary bedrooms are serviced for a separate full bathroom. Underfloor hot water heating throughout the house, included in the garage, along with a secondary source of natural gas that keeps you nice and toasty in those colder months. The 3-car garage has been oversized to accommodate all of your vehicles as well as the toys. It has been insulated with white steel finished interior. That's a description, and I thought I could pass this down if you want to look at the pictures. They have, there's a picture of the outside. They have very pretty landscaping. They have a beautiful garden and some really pretty flower beds as well.
But Lisa, the apartments, would they be built behind here then?
They would be on the side. So like when you drive up on College Road, you see the house, there's this whole big block that's vacant right now. That's where those were, the unit would be built.
Would be on this west side of it?
Yep, the west side, yeah.
No, the back west side or next to the house?
On the same, well, the house is here and right here, so the west.
So you want to put it back in this area, would you?
Probably in the future, it's open for something, but I'm sure that they probably focus somewhere up by the street.
I would think,
Start out
I mean, until we get the architect, I mean, we don't know if we're buying it yet. I mean, with the architect, we showed her some things about it, but
So with the grant, are we able to do this then?
we cannot purchase the land with the grant. The grant money won't even be given to us until March or April when they do the loan closing. And that's not an eligible cost. So,
Lenny, can we use third-party money to buy this with? Or so, because this is part of supportive housing. Isn't it?
Well, if it's for supportive housing, we can look at that, that's a possibility.
That's gonna be in it and it can be chemical-free housing?
yes.
Housing first?
Well, you take them as they are to begin with. You take them off the street if they have an addiction, they have whatever, but then you work with them to try to get them past those issues that they're having.
So what about the house? What would that be used?
Well, I was thinking, I don't know what,
Office
could-
space?
possibly, a couple thoughts went in my head is maybe we move the admin part where they come for their treatment and their different things in that house, because, I mean, it's perfect. The garage, maybe even for the people that are living in there, could do some like, at Jack Howie planning on putting somewhere they could do like making drums or making whatever they want. They could have a crafting area. Maybe we open that up to them so they have a little recreational space. That's an idea. I mean, there's lots of thoughts that kind of went through my head on it. I don't know what exactly,
Or
or,
be set up for office space.
yeah, I mean, office space would be perfect. Everything has hard floor in there, so there's no carpet even. I don't think you'd have to even really do any renovation. If you wanted more office space in there, we could even do some of those, those self-standing office things could be in the living room if you wanted to add more space or whatever.
It would be,
for
kind of
office.
sad to see if we put it in the office space when we have so many homeless. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe you could put a few homeless in there. I mean, maybe you have one office in there, or this is another thought. If you moved, because in that new spot that we're building, we have offices in the bottom. If you'd move that to the house, you could probably do more efficiency apartments right in the bottom layer where there would have been offices. Then you could serve more people. That's a thought.
You know, we have that beautiful kitchen and stuff, so if we brought in, like maybe use it for a woman's home, I don't know. But then you can, teach them cooking, cleaning, just the basic,
Teach those men how to cook too.
Yeah, the man, yeah.
If it's property, we could turn that into a family, turn
Yeah.
the garage into family shelter and use the home for family shelter.
There's so many
Everything right there,
possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to do an assessment of that. So.
You have a lot more potential with the size of that lot being 5.3 than we had anywhere else around.
Because right now, our families don't really have no place that's the homeless children. A lot of homeless are
Right.
in badly with 2-3
Right.
kids staying in nobody rooms.
Yep.
But this should be excellent, turn that garage into for families and the house itself. And
Yeah.
everything right in it.
We
Yeah.
said Dave owns all this, doesn't
Not that one, everything to the west of there is his lot. If you look at this one, Mike,
he? Yeah.
this
Whose lot is this then? 'Cause all
it's the neighbors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you owned that too.
Yeah, no, for some reason, the parcel layer isn't correct on the Nome, and I asked Dave, he said, no, those were already conveyed over years ago. So it's everything within this blue box.
Okay.
And normally they don't want to work with us, they want us to build them a new water,
Well,
sewer.
they were, at the meeting, we were, the majority of the people that were there were very friendly and whatever, talking, and, we had a motion from, Luann Durant, she said, absolutely not, we don't want to sell any she was the first one to, make the motion not to sell us any property. And then after that, nobody else would speak up. She was just like adamant. She goes, this is for our future businesses and we're not gonna ruin our industrial park. That was,
Didn't Mitch Berg just come in here and say he would work with us?
well,
and
he,
everything?
yeah, and he wanted to, and he really did defend us. And he really said, you know, I don't know why we couldn't do this. Let's work with the tribe. But no, she came out and said, absolutely not. She did not want to work with the tribe and they're not buying any of that. So it was very blunt.
Kind of odd when they're asking us to help them build their new water and sewer lines in there and into that, you know.
If you guys look at this spot, some of this field would have been the areas that we were looking at from the city, because that's part of their industrial. But the one that they said to go ahead and look at is this one in the back corner.
Which is undeveloped.
Yeah, which is undeveloped, and you'd have to do more to get stuff in there. Whereas with that Weimer property, a lot of it's already at the door, ready to go.
So,
But I think we talked about even making sure that if we did move forward, that they want to do a soil test first to make sure, you know, that we don't run into something that's unknown again, but.
Okay. Well,
and if you do want to look at pictures, I have pictures of the interior. I'll just pass it along. You guys can check it out. It's a very nice home. Very pretty. Very well
so when
made.
does he want us to, what, is this, when do you need an answer today?
Well, I'd say within this month, I need to, well, not September, but I think we had a month. They wanted to know, Minnesota Housing wanted us to put something on the table to them. I mean, I know there's going to be, we want to look at the soils to make sure that they're good. I'm assuming they're all good, but we need to have a soil evaluation done anyway. So I could go ahead and get the survey going and get that moving.
I think one of the things that they need to know is, are we approved to start exploring the purchase, so we can start these testings and get a building inspection, things like that done, so we have it on record. Those are usually all part of the purchase agreement contingencies, so you always have that time to pull out. And then, if I recall right, Barb mentioned that they want to make sure that there's a purchase something in place within 30 days to show that we're moving forward with it. Even though we may not have the purchase complete, just something, an agreement in place.
It could make more sense getting something that's already, you know, done.
Yes, it's just something we can renovate into.
Yeah,
The home is perfect for families.
Yeah, then we can put their homeless shelter back here if we have to.
Yeah.
Altogether, yeah.
And remember that other site that ended up with bad soils wasn't even an acre, and this one's got 5, so you consider 5 of those big buildings even almost, or at least 4 of them, you know, you've got a lot of room to work with for plans that we didn't have. It's really hard to find land in the Norman. Really hard.
So you need like a motion from us to
Yeah, that would
explore?
be great, because then we can go back and get this moving forward if you're wanting to. I mean, it'd be contingent, if you could say you want to approve it contingent on that the soil's good.
And that we can reach out to.
And then Catherine, what about those 2 properties in Waupun that we need, remember? The fourplex and the duplex.
I never heard back from even getting a building inspection on those. I gave prices to Human Services, and then they didn't tell me whether to get them inspected yet or not. Those buildings we really should.
We'll just do it, I mean, we'll put it we'll put it in this resolution to get those inspected, all right?
And so I would just
Oversees
move
that.
ahead like I normally do under my certain funds that we use for land stuff for inspections and that.
So you guys will work with Catherine on what fund that, how. that
Usually
property-
119 is the one we deal with all that.
I mean,
It's just-
do you have a different one that you want to be using on this,
But-
or?
I just want to say that sometimes, depending on the program it's for, we have had programs pay for it, so.
Lisa, will you get that housing first, the description to Lenny to make sure that we could use third-party money to spend on it?
Okay,
We need
So-
like supportive housing or whatever it's called or whatever.
okay, so just like a narrative of like what the program's gonna be used for?
So we could use
Okay.
other pots of money to buy that land, so.
Okay, and then the last time I met with you guys, there was one more issue with Housing First. It was asking if we could go out to Jacobson Law Firm to do a 501c3, but now I understand, Lenny, you do 501c3s?
Yep.
We have a short time in which, so just to give you a little background on this, we use Rediscovery's 501c3 this time as a placeholder. So we have to have one in place, I would say no later than maybe January, February,
Okay.
Because otherwise they're gonna use, I mean, it's what,
Well, the application process is not that difficult to put together. The issue is the IRS and issuing the determination.
okay,
So, I don't know if we'll have a determination letter by February. The good news is once the IRS backdates your 501c3 status to the day that your application was submitted.
okay, so well, I guess, so that's probably the highest priority if we could get that done because of that closing date. If you need me to work with you and get you any information,
What entity is it that needs the 501c3?
so it'd be this Housing First, like, how do they say their name? They have another tribal name for a Housing First program. I can get you that information. That has to have its own 501c3. And what happened in the past, like we have Luana McKinn and Dreamcatchers Homes, they were all underneath Rediscoveries and they want them out of there. So they have to be moved.
Can they go with Housing First?
I don't think it would, I don't know if it would matter. I don't know if they all have to have their own. I guess if they could be under Rediscovery, why couldn't they all be underneath a new one that you're creating?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the legalities of any of that is, so whatever you determine to be best, I mean, that, I'm sure that would be fine. I mean, I can also give you the name of our consultant. She could probably answer some of those questions for you as well. We could work with her. It's Barb Berwin is her name.
If you wanna, maybe just email Laura Lee and we can set up a
Okay.
time to meet next week. and
That sounds
get the
good.
ball rolling on,
Yeah.
on getting that 501c3 application in and figuring out how it should be structured.
Okay, that would be good.
I think the only question I need is, do I use 119 for all this, or do I have the Human Services Program use their funding for the building inspections, things like that, and pay for it?
Say so, if is it gonna be,
Well, when I asked her if they had money, she said they didn't have money this morning when I talked to Mary Riegert, so that's why.
Well, just work with Scott on that.
Okay, he'll,
Work
got
with
it.
Scott. So-
I mean, I can, with the funds that they already gave me last time when Ben had set them up, I will pay for the soil investigation out of that one. It's a certain revenue fund that they have, so I'll continue to use that one. Okay, well, thank you guys. It's good to have this program moving forward, so I appreciate your time and letting us come see you.
Do you need a motion on that?
Oh, yeah, whatever you guys need to do, get this moving along.
So we need a motion to approve the soil samples and funding to move forward with this project, this housing.
I guess reach out with the purchase agreement and with contingencies of the soil test, the inspections and all that.
Take a look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, motion, what she just said. So, look at the soil, look at the
Inspecting
purchase
the
agreement,
building.
look at, options and other things, so move forward.
One motion?
So can I ask one more question? So, sorry, so if it's all good, can we move forward or do we have to come back again?
Yeah, we'll review the minutes too.
Can you add that in there if you want to go forward, if everything is good? Can we go forward with forward?
We'll need a resolution.
I'll still need another one.
Yeah, because
Okay.
it's expenditure.
All right, then we'll do another
Okay, so
one.
motion on, what do you have, Maria?
Motion to approve the soil investigation, purchase of agreement, and inspection of the building.
Motion.
Motion by Kathy, second. Second by Ray, all in favor?
All right, thank you.
Motion carries.
thank you.
That'd be good.
What's his name?
Is Tito or?
We tried calling her.
Okay,
So we
is
could-
Dennis on the phone?
Hi, Dennis, are you on the phone?
Oh, no, not yet today.
Dennis?
I haven't been up there yet. He comes today. Okay. No, I did get a call yesterday.
Wow, okay.
All right, well, I'll probably be back later then.
Talk to you later.
All right, what we can do before we get a hold of anybody, we can extend the COVID, reimbursement, till November 1st, is that what it was? Or 130 more days, motion by Alan, second by Kathy, all in favor? Motion carries. To extend it 30 more days, people, for your application to get it in, so get your application in. Could you guys put that on Facebook or something, Laurie?
If we're waiting, Mr. Chairman, do you mind if we go to wider thinner premises?
Yeah, I'll do that.
As long as
I don't think Tara, or anybody from the community council's on?
Yeah, we're gonna get questions.
All right, so, we met with, Ray Ann Smith over from Enterprises and, trying to get, White Earth Enterprises back on track. It's been, sort of out there without a lot of direction or a lot of, structure in place. And, there are several, tribal LLCs that are out there, the umbrella LLC is, Mississippi Pillager, which was the first, LLC under our tribal code. And then, there's other LLCs for White Earth Sanitation and builders and et cetera. And the long and short of it is right now there's no board of directors for the White Earth Enterprises. And we really, in order to get things in place, we need to have a board. And so the operating agreement for the LLC actually specifies, that the tribal council will appoint the board. And I know that the council's kind of wanted to get away from doing direct appointments to these boards now. But one of the things, last night I was looking at the LLC codes as I was drafting this resolution, and the codes require that for these tribally chartered LLCs that are wholly owned by the tribe, that tribal council has to be what's the owner of the LLCs. And so in acting as the owner, it's the owner who says who's just going to sit on the board of directors, and then the operating agreement of that LLC will specify, how that board of directors is going to be set up, etc. So the operating agreement for the Pillager LLC specifies that the tribal council appoints who's going to be on the board. And since there's no board for now, and we have these enterprises that are currently operating, we figured that the easiest thing to do would be to look at who was on the last board that when it was operating and put the people who are in those positions back on the board temporarily. We recommend to the council that you temporarily appoint this board as like an interim board to get back up and running. And then we'll make some changes to the operating agreement and specify that the board will be a self-appointing board reporting to the executive director and the RTC, but then that way the board is able to be separate. But in the meantime, there's got to be an interim board that's put in place to get things up and running. And so the positions that were on the last board for White Earth Enterprises was the chair, the secretary treasurer, tribal CFO, the casino accountant who handles the accounting for the enterprises, the tribal executive director, and the tribal legal counsel. And so we would ask that the tribal council appoint those individuals to an interim board for the LLC and White Earth Enterprises, with the idea that within 3 to 6 months, there'll be other board members that will be brought on, and the interim board will go off, and then that new board will be the board that will be the ongoing board for enterprises. But we just need to get something, a board in place right now, because there's no board and there's no direction.
You guys all in agreement on that?
Yeah.
Just to get this going, because this is the big process with our medical marijuana. We had to have this to going so we can. And I know, I caught the last by the end of the meeting yesterday. It's really important because I know that Rayanne does have the book of applicants, and I know that we could probably put that back out again and add more applicants to it. But those applicants will be coming in slowly and taking our spots over. So it's something I think we just need to get going like ASAP today. So.
Yeah, I only got one question.
Yep.
I just want to verify, Lenny, that this.
This is something else that I'm preparing for.
Okay. Yeah. The LLC. So this is something separate.
This is something separate, but I'll talk about this next.
Oh, I ain't got no phone for that.
Okay, motion for the
interim board.
Interim Enterprises Board.
Motion.
Motion by Kathy, second.
say was gonna be that board chairman, the secretary treasurer?
The tribal CFO, so, and I can't remember her name,
Just to begin with.
just to begin with, and then within 3 months. it'll
Yeah.
be-
Second by Ray, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, and then the next thing that's happened is in reviewing what's been going on at the enterprises, Rayanne has pointed out that the LLC, the tribal registrations for the LLCs have expired and they weren't renewed. And so, and there's a number of things that go with this because the DUNS numbers for these LLCs have expired, EINs have become inactive, and so there's a lot of work that needs to go in to make sure that each of the entities under enterprises is operating effectively. And one of the things is we need to make sure that there wasn't a lapse in the LLCs. And so in talking to the staff at the legal department, just with the way things have gone and especially with response to the pandemic and being short-staffed, that the legal department actually has not renewed any LLCs within the last year or so, any tribal. So not just the tribally owned LLCs that White Earth Enterprises, but also like band member owned LLCs. And there are a lot of LLCs that the tribe has issued to like band members that are inactive, that they're not operating anymore. But there are several that are still operating. And if they expired during this time, then we want to just make sure that we recognize that they're continuing to operate and they're still eligible to do business as the LLC. And so what this resolution does is it just says, hey, because of the pandemic and what it's caused from July 1st of 2019 until December 31st of 2020, all active tribal LLCs will have been deemed to be registered, but any active tribal LLC needs to reapply by January 1st of 2021. So then that way, for example, the White Earth Builders LLC expired in 2019 and it hasn't been renewed. What this resolution does is it says the way you are operating, you are still a legally licensed entity to operate during that period, but now you just need to come in and renew your LLC.
But they'll just have to get all their paperwork in by January.
By January 1, yep. And in talking with Rayanne, they'll be able to do that pretty easily. And then now that we're fully staffed at legal, we'll be able to turn those applications and registrations around quickly.
Can we also get listed in the LLCs and ones that are active and non-active?
Yep, I'll get that from Laura Lee. Laura Lee has a spreadsheet.
And I'd like to know what White Earth Builders actually does, just for my own.
Sure.
Because I have no clue what they're about or, what their duties are or anything. So I just like to get something on that.
Yeah, I'll talk to Rayanne and we'll get a briefing for you. You can see sort of like a general contractor.
I think they're the highest moneymaker we have over there. Because they get a portion of all the building contracts, so.
Yeah.
All right, motion to approve the resolution for all the LICs and
LLCs.
LICs, yeah. So, motion by Kathy, second.
I'll second.
Second by Eddie, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I hear somebody on the phone. Who's on the phone?
White Thousand, just called in.
Oh, hey, how you doing, Dan? Yeah, you ready to go?
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Okay, well, you got the floor, brother.
All right, I'll start with the bacon. We got 26 baked. We have 10 ready for cleaning. Unfortunately, in the last couple of weeks, we went through a couple cleaners and we're currently looking for one right now. We are in negotiation with the cleaning company, but they won't be able to do anything till October 5th. we've been pulling guys, the maintenance guys and a few office staff, kind of shuffle them around so they can do the cleaning, but we only have a few of them able to clean up.
Dan, have you reached out to day labor?
Day labor?
Yeah, they could help you. Reach out to Sandy St.
Yeah, maybe
Clair.
that's an option.
Yeah.
Mike, being these are vacant units, could we still send them guys in there?
What? Day labor go in there and clean those out?
They're vacant.
Yeah, if they're vacant, yes.
I mean, 1,000 is oversight.
All right,
Yeah, with your team oversight, like one guy there to oversee it, yeah, to make sure there's, nothing being damaged or whatever, so.
oh, we should be able to do that.
Okay.
All right, federal home loan and MHFA, we got 8 picks so far for District 1. We got 14 picks for District 2, and we got about 14 picks for District 3 so far. And then will be 65 total picks between MHFA and Federal Home Loan Bank. For some reason, I couldn't get into my HDS to run the report for our waiting list, but that's around 110, 115 people. So our waiting list is growing. And just to give a quick CARES update, we got 4 lots ready to go in Whitehurst. The guys got the 4 lots ready to go in Madewash. Rice Lake, we did have find lots up there, but we're running into issues. Hopefully we can work through them. So that's 12 houses total coming into the reservation through the CARES program, our CARES Act money. And these houses, the way we filled out the application is you gotta prove that you're overcrowded. There's no, if you already have your own house, that's a disqualifying factor. You gotta be 2 or 3 families in one unit to qualify for these units. I guess there's been a lot of, we are getting a lot of phone calls regarding these houses, so I guess I had to put that out there.
So I had a few questions, Dennis.
Is there any other, yep, go ahead, Ray.
I had a few questions. Some of the ones living in community loop there, where the 2 bedrooms are, they were wondering if they could put in for these new houses with 3 and 4 bedrooms. Because some of them are overcrowded in those 2 bedrooms. I don't know
If there
if
are multiple families living in one unit, then yes.
well, it's not actually multiple families. They got like 3 or 4 kids in there in a 2-bedroom home since they moved in. That was just something that come up yesterday. They were asking about that, so I thought I'd ask you.
From what we understood from HUD, it's gotta be, if they're already in a unit, we can't move them in these units. In the way that we written the application, the families that we are targeting for these units are families of 4 or 5.
That are overcrowded and multi-families living in a unit now, right?
Right.
Maybe
Yep.
that's something you should get in the paper so that, the people know and,
Actually, there's a lot of them asking if they can move from the 2 bedrooms into these, or now can they put in for those, and somebody else move into theirs.
But they can't get on the waiting list for a bigger house.
There is no waiting list for these, pairs. This is gonna be, we're still waiting on HUD from guidance for this, but this is what we got so far, is that you can't be, if you already have your own unit, then no, you're automatically disqualified.
So basically, we're just targeting the homeless with families then that are overcrowded, living with other people, which is good.
Right. Any more questions on that CARES Act project?
I have a question. Are they gonna be running short on anything else besides the driveway and Rice Lake?
Not at this time, as far as we know. We do have a small funding left for that project, but if we had to do that driveway, it would have ate that funding right up.
I'm sure that's
I did talk to Ken Heisler, this morning about, because we do have a backhoe up here at Howden, and we couldn't, lend out, one of our guys to run the backhoe if they needed help digging, any of the trenches for any of the water lines or anything like that. We do have a bobcat too, so, we could help out with that on that end if, water or sewer or roads or anybody needs any kind of assistance. And getting this project done.
Yeah, then we're looking at different funding sources too, which can help out with that too, so we'll have, we'll get another report going on that to see what we can use, and I know, legality, I know Linda has to look at some of this stuff too, what pots of money we can use, so. But appreciate the help, I think that will help out, so.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're willing to do whatever it takes to keep the project going.
Yep. Which?
All right, you want to give a quick update? Virginia's gonna give a quick update on some of the stuff she's been working on.
I submitted a grant to what's called the NDN Collective. It's a Native American group in Nebraska for roof replacements for 20 of our units. We're waiting to hear on the Healthy Homes Production Grant from HUD. It was a $750,000 application to do, to remove health and safety hazards in the home. That grant would allow us to help 78 families, rentals, and homeowners. Just finished an application yesterday for MHFA to pass the building to get our tenant services, some training at the college to do budget counseling and credit repair and stuff like that with our tenants so they can learn how to do a budget and stick with it, so they make sure their essential needs are met first. Update on MHFA Rice Lake Pine Bend. They are, the staff that we're working with down there is going to go back to their board, I believe, next Wednesday and ask for additional $1.3 million for that project for us. Because that was a shortfall because of the cost of construction materials went through the roof because of COVID. And we're working on preparing files, getting files up to date, make sure everything's in for the 2020 audit. I'm waiting for, Lenny was going to draft a letter to Greg March on that 2018 and 2019 audit stuff. He did draft a letter to HUD regarding the the letter that they sent to us that was so awful, disparaging the housing authority and the Warriors Nation, that Lenny had drafted that for Mike, your signature and Dennis's signature. We're waiting for the original to come over with signatures on that, and we'll send that in to them. I think he's still working on the letter to send to Brady Martin.
Yeah, this is Lenny, Virginia. And just so council knows, in the signature request packet, there is the letter to Yolanda at HUD. And this letter is just basically asking, so this Yolanda Brown sent a letter to the Housing Authority denying the grant and saying that White Earth Housing had unresolved civil rights matters. And in the letter, there was a list of all the things that, it was generic, it wasn't accusing White Earth, but it was pretty bad stuff. It said, well, these are things that, would cause you to be ineligible, and none of them apply to White Earth. Now, since then, another staffer at HUD has reviewed the issue, and they've sent the application on for review and scoring and deemed that we were eligible. But we just want to make sure that that HUD retracts this statement that White Earth Housing has unresolved civil rights issues. And that's what this letter requests.
Right.
It's my understanding that they were thinking it was a different tribe, yeah.
I'll motion that.
Do we need a motion or just a consensus in that letter?
It's how we want to proceed, yeah.
Consensus.
Consensus, okay. So we're all good for me and Alan signing that?
And Virginia, on that second letter to the auditor, I'll have to give you a call to follow up because I need a little bit more information. But I'm working on it, and I'll give you a call here probably early next week. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
Thank you for drafting those for us.
Yeah, we'll sign that one letter, so.
Okay, great. If they could, email that over to us, and we're gonna Dennis sign, Tommy sign, and we'll email that off to Ms. Brown in DC.
Very good.
Perfect.
Thanks, Wayne, too. Just to give a quick update on the ramp program, we had to stop it because we couldn't get no green trees whatsoever. We did 4 ramps before we run out of green trees. We don't know when we're gonna have access to green trees, but that's as far as I know. I guess any other questions for us? Or anything else you guys want to know about?
When's your meeting then?
The 30th at 1 o'clock.
Thank you. Be good.
How are they coming along up in Rice Lake on as far as the houses, Dennis, the ones like, cause I got a call from a guy yesterday, his shingles are pretty bad. He was wondering how soon you guys would be in there, but I told him, I said, it's because of the contractors, we only got like 3 contractors, I think you said.
Is this a homeowner, Ray, or is this one of our low rent units?
No, it's a homeowner that's on the list to have his house redone there on this last program. I forget which one it is. Smoky Quarter, right?
Okay. We'll check into that, but it's kind of the same thing with the homeowner program. We're about 2-3 months out on cabinets, windows, and just simple stuff like that. It's taken so long to get everything ordered with COVID.
Okay.
It did throw a wrench in a lot of our projects we got going on up here.
Okay, that's just what I wanted to hear, just so we can put it on the camera, because I've been questioning quite a bit about that. But thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Our board meeting is next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. I sent board packets out this morning through email to everyone on the council as well as our board members.
Miigwech, Virginia. All right, guys, since we have no more questions, we good for the update, guys.
Thank
No
you.
problem, thanks.
Yeah, you go have a minute. Who else? Anybody else on?
Nitawash is on.
Okay, Tara, you can do an update. Be good.
All right, well, thank you for the time. Normally, Nitawash Community Council reports every quarter, but I do share emails and any correspondence that comes through me as a secretary. And this month, our chair had requested 4 items that we present on. So the first one is that we would really like to see what is police department liaison come back to our regular meeting. And so I know in the past they had one, but it would be very beneficial if we could count on them to be there every month. So that's one thing that we were hoping for. The second one is if there's a way we could talk to the public works director, like actually come out to Nitawash and just let us know what is feasible, what they really can do, because we have a lot of projects, but we aren't getting any communication on being able to move forward with them. So we do appreciate they put in 1 speed bump, but they put it in a place where there are no kids. And so we have a map, and we went to the community and we asked them for input. And so we did all of that, but it would be nice to have some communication before some projects are started. So I know that one little strip of speed bumps needs to come up now. So would really appreciate that. The third one was our COVID request. We were just wondering if there were any questions. Where is it at in the process? Is there anything else we need to do? Is there anything else we need to modify? Are there safety plans? So we have questions on that. So we would like to hear back from that. And our fourth issue to be brought forward is we would really, I'm trying to see how I can word this properly. We're in a state of crisis. We honestly are with relapses. Our substance abuse, we've had so many people that have been clean and sober, and they're back to using again. And we really feel that it would be appropriate for White Earth to declare a state of emergency again for the amount of people that we see suffering and not having the support that they need in the community to stay sober. And so for us, this is like our #1 issue, and we need all the help that we can get. It's such a huge concern. I mean, there's so much stress with COVID, with all of these different schooling issues and schooling options. And so, I mean, it's really affected the community, and we haven't seen much of any type of response come forward. So we would request all of the help that we could possibly get, and any new ideas or support or anything coming through, because I mean, this is critical. I mean, these are people's lives, and we really feel kind of like neglected, as I'm sure every other community feels. But yeah, we're reaching out for help, and we're asking White Earth to step up, and behavioral health. That's it.
Okay, well, Miigwech, we're working with Lori and the divisions. You know, I know we got Clinton over at the behavioral health, and I know that he's trying to recall as many people as he can to get back out there to get workers out into our communities like Nitawash, especially Nitawash and Rice Lake and Pine Point and White Earth here to get those services to those people. And I know that we put out on Facebook some like flyers and stuff on harm reduction. I know that we're working on that. So, but you make a good point about the relapses, yeah, because we as council, we hear a lot of that too. You know, that there's a lot of our people that were on the straight path there for a while, and now they're falling off it. So prayers out there. You know, we as council, we all care for our memberships. We all want to be healthy. So I think that, you know, you're gonna hear from us real quick, Tara, when it comes to these services. I think that Lori's dwelt on a lot, and I know that we're gonna, this is our big priority too, as council, to keep our membership safe. So I know that, that we will send a message very quickly, so. Miigwech.
Okay, miigwech. We appreciate it. And if we could get help with the 501c3, since I noticed that you guys are talking about that, we'd really appreciate that. I believe we requested that a couple of different times. So, and I know it wasn't in our last monthly update and request. So, miigwech, thank you guys for everything.
Hey, Tara, real quick, this is Lenny. You're requesting a 501c3 for Nadawash Community Council?
Yes.
Is that, okay, all right. Well, we can, I'll talk with Kathy about that and we'll try to get something set up then.
Okay, Miigwech.
Thank you so much. All right, have a good day, you guys.
Thank you, government.
What about the what?
I got you.
For the kids.
Here,
did you hang that?
She did it. Click. Everybody, is Pine Point or Rice Lake on?
Jeep just messaged me, he won't be able to be on.
Okay, what about Henry Fox? Henry gonna do it?
Yeah, she did. I haven't had a chance to talk to him this morning. But our dinner is ready and I'm.
There's just a couple more things in there. If they come on, they come on, we'll add them in.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
can I say something about the Pine Point Community Council? I know that they, had, met or talked to Paulette about, they want to use some of that powwow funds, the 25,000 we issued to each, to do some renovation. I know that was one of his questions, and I didn't know if we can use it for that, or they wanted to kind of do some fixing up of the powwow grounds.
Well, I think that all the reps got that money, and I think that, you know, at their discretion, and at least they do, you know, good, keep their receipts and submit something to us that what they use their money on would be good. Yeah, I mean, it comes out of our general fund, so it's, they can use it for just.
They already made a motion to
Yeah.
reprogram it, so.
But they weren't sure if they could use it to, you know, fix up the powwow grounds, so that's.
Oh, yeah,
definitely.
definitely,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it's general fund money, so
Okay.
keep the receipts.
Keep receipts. Okay, thank you.
All right, I think before we eat, I know Ray's hungry, we extended COVID. Now you wanted to talk about hemp, Annie?
Yes, I just need to know, why non-natives can grow hemp on the res and our members can't, because, I don't know, what do we have to do to get that rolling so that they can?
Well, that's a lot of that. I think Lenny could probably talk about some of the restrictions on tribal land compared to off tribal land. I think the restrictions are less off, you know, on state land or, you know, county land. It's easier to grow. But when it comes to our land or within our borders, you get to jump through hoops.
Well, what do we have to do to jump through the hoops? Because, you know, it'd be a benefit to our tribal members.
We need to, get licenses from the, or enter into agreements, I should say, with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And because a lot of this is governed by the Farm Bill, and it gives the USDA jurisdiction, and it's more difficult on reservation because of those limitations at the federal level versus the state level. And so I know that there's a hemp working group, and one of the things that I want to bring up, because I've been having conversations with Ronnie Newcomer on this, is that you know, I know that there's been this hemp working group, and it might be good, Annie, for you to go to one of their meetings, because what Ronnie was telling me is like they kind of feel like they don't have direction, the hemp working group, you know, because they're just kind of, well, what should we do, you know? And really, I think that they, because it's people from economic development, from legal, and agriculture, I think, that are on that working group. They need to come up with a solid recommendations for the RBC to consider with regard to moving forward with the USDA, regulating, licensing, and getting all of that set up. But here's where it gets a little bit muddled because we're moving forward on hemp and then we're moving forward on medical marijuana, okay? Now, the two are not the same and we need to make sure that we keep them separate. And so that's where Ronnie and I were talking. Ronnie is gonna keep working on the hemp and I'm gonna do the medical marijuana. And so from the legal, we're gonna keep those separate because we need to make sure for the RTC's perspective that you guys are keeping those separate in your minds as well. And so as we move forward with hemp and as we move forward with medical marijuana, let's make sure that they're separate, but that doesn't mean they can't move forward together, you know, or that as we're moving forward with medical marijuana, we can't move forward with hemp. We should be moving forward with both of them.
Okay, then can you, have Ronnie just let me know when the next meeting is? That would be great.
Okay.
And how is their hemp project coming in north of the
Well, I know with all the rain, remember they got in July, it just saturated the field. I know it's, you know, the hemp over there is only supposed to grow like 4 feet high. It's built for CBG oil. It's not built for the stock or for the, you know, it's just built for one thing and it's for oil only. And, I think I see drove by, it's going, what is it, Cat, about 2.5, 3 feet? And they won't harvest it till probably October 1 or right around the 1st of October. So no, that's something that I'm not sure if he sold it yet. I know he had buyers looking at it, so maybe we'll get a report from him coming up here real soon. So.
That would be good.
Okay, good. But that's one aspect, and I know Doug Lee down in Star Lake, he's growing for fiber. So it's totally different. His hemp's gonna be bigger and taller and stockier, so. I think that's all the stuff, Annie will probably start getting all that information too, so. All right, good, okay, anything else?
Yeah, it's kind of different between hemp and CBG oil because if the hemp plant gets over 3%, then it's considered.
I think we got everything. What's that one now? Oh, the letter, okay. All right, guys, next up, I got a letter that we put together, or legal put together, and on the dear Senator Klobuchar, Senator Smith, and Chairman Peterson. You know, on some of these gaps and some stuff with the pandemic that, you know, our revenue losses at the casino and trying to use some of our remaining COVID funds to be put back into those losses. And I know right now we're waiting for Congress and we're waiting for, you know, next Wednesday is going to be the tail of what we're going to have to do by next week. So I think, but this letter is to go forward to these three. Me and Alan will sign it.
I only wanted to add one word.
Yeah.
It's on the first paragraph there. It says the projected total of loss. I think the more accurate term would be the projected gross total of loss.
Oh, gross. Okay.
Gross total of loss. That's the only
Can you
word
get
I
us
would add. Yeah. Otherwise, I think it looks great.
Okay, we'll sign it. You guys all good with that, Kathy, Ray?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll sign it. So you get that fixed.
Where was the?
It's right in the front
Right
there.
in the front there.
Right down here, which is the projected.
Oh, the projected gross, okay.
Yeah.
We got the Word documents, I'll have Laura Lee put that word in.
Okay.
And we'll get it up to you guys for signature right away.
Thank you.
You guys want to take a break before signature request?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take a break, take 10 minutes, be good.
They can go up and get some.
And they'll bring the food down. You gonna bring the food down?
They do that upstairs.
Oh, it's upstairs. We're gonna go upstairs. Okay.
No, they shouldn't bring it down here. The plates are in the carry down.
You gonna bring it down?
Do you want to bring it down?
I don't know. So what do you guys think?
Up or down here?
Bring it down, probably be easier.
Or is it already set up to go upstairs?
It's up,
Is it
it's
good?
set up right in our conference
We can grab a plate upstairs.
On the upper
You wanna
conference
grab Kathy a plate?
Sure,
Yep.
yeah, and then you could just bring it down to eat. Yep.
You can-
Oh, I think I got a bracelet stuck here.
No.
I cleaned my
What
legs.
were we gonna ask Kara? What did you get? Oh, for the kids, for Halloween?
Well, no, not for Halloween. It was for, books, for books, from books.
Oh,
I haven't heard anymore.
I know, our budgets too, you know.
She's
remember, look at your budget too, because